26-16. The other Parramatta turned up this week and looked pretty good in doing so, beating the Easts at Combank in
the Easts.
The Easts
East for 25 years.
It's gonna say the Easts. And big shout out to my computer, which has decided it's going to run all its updates right now. So apologies for that. And of course, we've got to give a quick plug to rugbyleaguemerch.com, where you can find our gear at rugbyleaguemerch.com. Stats barn.
5 tries to 3 out of 5 conversions for Parramatta, 2 out of 3 for the Roosters. 85% completion, played 82%. 34 out of 40 sets, played 34 out of 41 sets. 144 plus post-contact meters for Parramatta, 6 line breaks to 5, 31 tackle busts for Parramatta, 46 for the Roosters. 20 offloads to 12, 2 forced dropouts to 1, 0 40-20s. 302 tackles made by Parramatta, 411 made by the Roosters. 1 ruck infringement from both teams, 2 inside the 10 against Parramatta. 8 penalties conceded from both sides. 5 errors, played 9. Mahoney made 44 tackles. Collins made 47. Junior Paulo with 229 running meters and Tupu with 164. Brown missed 6 tackles, made 19. Dylan. Papali missed 5 and made 26. Suwali missed 4 and made 5. Walker missed 4 and made 13. Suwali with 101 Supercoach points. Sean Lane with 98 and Manu with 85.
I only mentioned the meters there. RCG also topped 215 meters as well. Massive effort. It was absolutely, I thought it was actually outstanding. But what did you, Barn, what did you make of this?
That was, I thought Parramatta come out with the energy early in the game again and sort of ambushed the Roosters. The Roosters took the first opportunity with getting Suwali on the outside of Sivo, who as we know, isn't the best with lateral movement nor turning around to try and chase somebody. So once Suwali got on the outside of him, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion. But that was, again, back to Manu on his inside, who drew in 2 blokes and got that little flick pass away to him. So that's how the scoring started in this one. But then Parramatta just went set up, and it was clear from the get-go that their plan was to take the Roosters on up through the middle. It was to use their big guys and the short ball playing and offloads through the middle to disrupt the Roosters' defence. And they did it really well. Fast play the ball, strong, hard running through the middle of the field. And then when they did get to their edges, that was probably the best game from their, like, Papali was outstanding. He generally is most weeks, but I think it was Sean Lane's best game of the season. He was fantastic again with some really nice offloads and some good, strong, hard running.
He's having a good year. When he plays well, Parra play well.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. There were some really good, skillful, slick tries from both sides, actually. Drawing in numbers, good passing, kicking, all the rest of it, offloads to score. Like, there were some really nice tries in this game of football. It was probably close to one of the better games on the weekend, to be honest. Lovely. There's a nice little chip and chase there at the end from Suwali. He had to be close to the best player on the field. He was fantastic, and he's getting better week from week. Parramatta's backs, it didn't seem to have as much. Parramatta's bench didn't seem to have as much impact as the Roosters. Like, was Butcher and Watson were impactful, but Parramatta's bench just sort of were there. Teddy was good, as was Crichton, Tupanua. They seem to up their work rate a little bit this week. Manu and Suwali, on that combination, could be anything in the next couple of years if they keep those two together. That could be, terrifying for teams to defend against. I thought Siwa Takiaho and Lindsay Collins, they had massive games through the middle of the field. They were realistically the reason why Parramatta didn't run all over the Roosters, because they were the ones that were fighting back, and they did a lot of work in the middle of the field to make sure that Parramatta didn't roll over the top of them. Gutho and Penasini's impressed me greatly this year. He's getting better. Another one that seems to get better every week. Sivo had a pretty good performance considering last week he was a little bit quiet, but he's definitely someone that's going to bring something to this side when he gets back and completely match fit. Paulo, Madison and Lane, as I mentioned earlier, they were fantastic. You chuck RCG in there, and that was the reason that Parramatta were able to get away with this. They were really good through the middle. And Moses was his kicking game was on point. He was marshalling his troops, and he did some really good work as well around the field. was a big part to why Parramatta were able to finish this game off. So
Nathan Brown must be really on a nose when two blokes sit in the bench and play 3 minutes and 7 minutes respectively.
Oregon Kaufusi and
and Kaufusi played half hour as did Niokore, but the other two didn't make it on the field. So interesting.
I know if I had those three in my team, I'd be playing Nathan Brown before the other two.
Well, you'd think you just say to him, mate, you got 20 minutes, you just be a nutbag for 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
Oliver?
Well, coming off the bench, I thought Kaufusi was one of the best players on the field just for the output he put in for how long he was on the field. And ultimately, this game was decided by the forwards. Parramatta's biggest positive this year overall, arguably more than it has been in the past couple of seasons, has been their forward pack, and that was on show in this game. And that sort of, over the past 18 months, been what we've come to expect from the Roosters as well, especially with their halves not playing to the standard we necessarily expect. There have been certain players in the forward pack who've stood up. Siwa Taukeiaho, of course, was one of those, and the other one in this game was Lindsay Collins. So it was sort of like that battle of the forwards. It's just Parramatta had that bit more cavalry, I think you could say, and they had that bit more momentum and that go forward during the game, and ultimately that's what won it for them in the end. If we maybe saw, and again, the Roosters, the couple of players in the backs, you bring up Manu and Suwali as well, had really good games, but ultimately it was decided in that middle, and Parramatta just sort of overwhelmed the Roosters in the end, despite a couple of really good individual efforts.
Give us your Daggy M votes, Barn, and then I'll ask the next question.
I gave Suwali 3 points. I thought he was the best player on the field by a fair way. I gave Moses 2, and then I either had RCG or Lindsay Collins for the 1.
RCG for me.
Yeah, well, it'd have to be RCG. I think, as I was saying, the impact the forwards had, I think at least one of them's got to get in there with a.
I'd actually give RCG 2. I just think it was such a key battle in the middle there.
Dominated.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that.
People will be screaming, listening to this, going, how do you give a losing winger 3 points? But I know what you're saying. He's fantastic. And wouldn't have been scary if he was playing in the under-19s Origin tomorrow.
On individual performance, I thought he was by far the best player on the field. I know, as you said, he was a winger, but he did some tremendous stuff. And the fact that he shoots off his line and hits second rowers, like he's not scared to put himself out there. Yeah,
absolutely.
Anyway.
It's sort of mind-boggling. There's some people in some of the chats are in suggest he's overrated, but anyway, good player.
So we Suwali 3, RCG 2, Moses 1.
Yeah, go with that.
To answer that though, Daggy, the reason people say that is because he is a player under the age of 20 that's gotten a bit of hype, and literally everyone older than him is jealous that they weren't him at their age. When they were his age. So that's pretty much it for most people, I think.
Fair enough.
To be honest.
They probably would have scored 4 points without him, so...
That's true. Actually, I just want to mention, well, the question I was going to ask is, so what do we actually do? Maybe we shouldn't ask this question week in, week out. Maybe it's just a matter of they get to the finals and worry about it. But how do you line up both these teams? Or maybe we just can't yet. Or is Parramatta just going to be the team that might finish fourth, might win a prelim final, and you'll just blow a semi, or
absolutely,
or might finish eighth and go all the way? That you just don't know. It could be. Yeah.
Parramatta have got the team to push top 4 and trouble a couple of teams in the top 4. In my opinion, the Roosters will be bottom of the 8, probably in that 6, 7, 8 position. You might get one game out of them where they can trouble one of the top 4, but I don't think you're going to get consistent performances out of them in the finals, and they'll probably go out pretty quickly. But
I think
it changes every 3 weeks. You could reevaluate it every 3 weeks and say something different. So
yeah,
that's true. At the moment, both teams are probably just about on par with where they ended up last year, and at the moment, I'm probably tipping both teams to go out in the second week of the finals.
Yeah, I can see Roosters going out first week, but like then
I can see the Roosters still missing the 8 if they don't sort of get something going with with their halves, because there's been games where they haven't looked like they've been able to score points.
Yeah.
Obviously, it all depends on who matches up against who over the next 10 rounds of the comp. But another one I've got concerns about is my team, the Sharks. Realistically, if they lose to the Bulldogs this week, they've got Penrith, Storm, Cowboys the following 3 weeks. They could lose 4 or 5 games in a row and be looking at missing the 8 in 6 weeks' time from now. So, especially on their form where their attack's been up and down. So,
well, that's what I asked you 2 weeks ago when I asked you about what would be considered a pass mark for Fitzgibbon. But
oh, mate, if they limp into the 8, that's not a pass mark.
No. So that's, but the merry-go-round goes around fast enough, I suppose.
But he'll have 2 or 3 years before they start questioning him.
Unless they
in
no
run
way
last next year.
In no way I was suggesting he's in trouble, because there's a lot to change at the Sharks. They've got $2 million in players turnover next year.
That are going to go in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Absolutely.